Hi, my name is Captain Ned Lynch, and I'm an F-16 pilot at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida. Today is the 12th of September 1991. The F-16 is a multi-purpose, can do everything fighter jet. It's single engine, single seat, and designed to kill other airplanes with missiles and guns, or drop bombs and shoot people on the ground with a gun also. Was entered the service in the Air Force in 1978, and at MacDill we're flying 1985 through 1988 models with a General Electric engine. The F-16 has got a lot of power. It's over 1-to-1 ratio for thrust to weight. So basically the airplane has got more thrust coming out the back end of it than it weighs. So I mean, you could go straight up if you want to. At MacDill the course that I'm going through here, we learn how to go out and dogfight, and then we go out and learn how to drop bombs. What I'm going to show you today, the purpose of this tape, is to show you some of my HUD tapes, and HUD means heads-up display, which is this piece of glass in front of my face which reflects a TV camera type image of different instruments and scales and aiming reticles and all kinds of things, depending on what mode you've got it selected for. The F-16 is a fly-by-wire jet. It's one of the basically the only fighter in the world that's made this way. You basically fly on a computer. The stick is on your right side and your throttle's on your left. So there's no stick in between your leg like a standard fighter. The stick doesn't move, just like all the other fighters, everything moves. This one, it doesn't. You push on the stick, it doesn't move, but a computer says, hey, Ned Lynch is pushing me to the left, so should I let him go to the left? Okay. Well, how much does he want to go to the left? So the computer's thinking, and it's trying to keep the jet flying and under control. So you push it to the left, and a nanosecond later you go to the left. But the computer is basically flying the jet by what inputs that you put into it. Also, the F-16 is a hands-on stick and throttle jet, meaning that basically you do all the stuff with your fingers on the stick and the throttle. There's, probably, I don't know how many buttons on the stick and throttle, but there's a lot of them. And every one of them does a different thing depending on what mode you're in. So it's an infinite number of switches to things that they can do. I'll show you a picture of the cockpit in a minute and explain to you a little bit about it. But basically I'm sitting in a bubble. The canopy starts from about my waist up. So you're sitting in a bubble canopy. You've got 360-degree coverage around you. You can check your six if somebody's trying to shoot you down, and maneuver the jet by looking outside and using your hands on stick and throttle. And that's how you fly. You have your basic instruments like a regular airplane does, but they're between your legs. And the only time you use those is when you're coming back to land the jet in the weather. Otherwise, you're basically looking outside. You're using your heads-up display, which has your instruments, and everything's focused to infinity. So this is what the F-16 looks like. It's a single engine. The intake's right here in front, basically up underneath me. And this is called the afterburner section, the nozzle. Afterburner meaning when you go into afterburner, it puts a lot of gas back into the exhaust area, ignites, and gives you a lot more thrust. We carry missiles on the rails here. You can carry up to 6 missiles, and we also have a gun that carries 20mm ammunition. So basically I'm going to show you some of my HUD tapes, show you what the cockpit looks like, and show you what the F-16 looks like to fly. I've got a General Dynamics propaganda type film that I'll show you some parts to it just to show you what the F-16 looks like when it's flying. So, okay, here's a picture of an F-16 cockpit, and I'll just go over just a few of the functions that we have in the jet. Basically, this is what it looks like when you're sitting there. Like I said, you're in a bubble canopy, so it looks like you're on top of the airplane. You can't see the nose, and you're back in a 30-degree seat, so you're basically like in a big lounge chair, sitting there on top of the world. So You know, maybe that's the reason we feel like we're on top of the world half the time. So basically, this is the HUD right here, and that's what I look through when I'm going to shoot somebody or drop a bomb. And that's what the videotape recorder in the jet records. Right here, down below the HUD, is called the upfront controls. And this is where I can control an infinite number of functions. I change the radio by using this button called COM1. We have another radio for VHF, COM2. I've got you know, tons of buttons here that I can use. It's also like a telephone button, touch tone pad here, and I use it for entering INS data, for entering the time into the clock. I mean, it's just an infinite number of things that you can, when you need to enter numbers into the system, this is where you do it. Your basic instruments, like I said, you know, like in any other airplane, it's just this one small portion right here, and that's all you have. It's your basic airspeed, altimeter, your attitude indicator telling you which way's up and down, a VVI for telling you how fast you're going up and down, and an angle of attack gauge. Then here's your compass, and basically that's it. The other analog stuff that we have in the jet are these things right here called the engine instruments. This is your oil pressure, your nozzle position on the afterburner, your F-tip, which is your turbine inlet temperature, which is basically the temperature coming out the back of the engine, and your RPM indicator. Then you got a fuel gauge here. Basically, you can see this guy sitting here. He's wearing a G suit. We wear a G suit to help us with sustaining the large amount of G's that we have to pull on the jet. This portion right here is a little bitty called a DED, data entry display, and in a minute when you watch my HUD films, you'll see this data that's right here. You'll see it at the bottom of the TV screen. I can put it up here in the HUD so I can look at it that way. But it tells you basically the radio frequency you're on and what time it is, and depending on what buttons you push over here, you change everything over here. Down here to your left and your right, these are called MFDs, multifunction displays, and these are buttons. All these little gray things are buttons, and they do an infinite number of things depending on what kind of screen you have pulled up on there. And I'll show you that in a minute. I'll just show you some basic stuff, how I load a missile onto the airplane and what the radar display looks like. And when we do intercept missions, we use the radar over here to find the other guy and go shoot him down. Then when you're flying low level, you use it for a ground mapping radar. So you can put anything on these screens you want. You can swap them back and forth. And basically what they've got displayed here is a ground mapping radar, and over here they have your inventory of your weapons. So it's almost like an Atari computer game, but it's real life, go out and kill airplane. Here you have a radar warning receiver. The gear handle is over here for when you want to put the landing gear down. And all the switches down the sides of you, you set those on the ground and you never touch them again unless you have a problem. You've got a, down here is a caution lamp panel, and we have a computer voice called Bitch and Betty, and when you're low on fuel or when there's a warning or a caution, she'll tell you. She'll go warning, warning, or caution, caution, or a bingo telling you you're at your bingo fuel, which means it's time to go home. Down here you can see the stick, his hands on here. It's over here on the right side, unlike the regular airplanes which have it between your legs. And there's an infinite number of switches, what these switches can do. You know, you got your TEMA switch, your DEMA switch, your trim switch, your pickle button, your trigger, you got a pinky switch, you got a thumb switch, you got tons of little switches. Between your legs here is called the ejection handle. It's a big piece of rubber thing that says pull to eject, so if you ever have to eject out of the airplane, that's what you pull. So basically that's what the cockpit looks like inside, and now I'll go ahead and show you what it's like when we're flying. I'm going to show you an approach first, and one of my first landings, just because I want to have that on tape, and then an approach to Tampa International Airport. You can see the runway lights and everything up in the HUD. And then another landing at MacDill during a thunderstorm, which is kind of hard to see out the jet. So, and then we'll go right into basic fighter maneuvers, and I'll show you what it's like to shoot down somebody. So, we'll now move on to the
power back.
Nav 81, wind 2904, clear for touch and go.
There you go.
Do you have to acknowledge here?
Yeah, some guys do. I don't. Okay, you got your descent a little too much descent rate, so power up, pull the nose up a little. You're at 800 feet halfway around.
Okay. Okay.
Your airspeed's looking good. Just keep it turning. As you're pulling, you got to add power. That's it. Good. You got the idea. Now, hit that window.
Now
301.
start.
Now, get your airspeed under control.
Howdy 83, close traffic approved, your discretion.
Great. Flight path marker on the other one.
Okay.
Okay. Now, short of where it is, push it down.
Okay, 3 green, looks good.
Okay, there you go. Now, keep the power up. There you go. Don't be at idle. That's it. 11 degrees. Hold it. Hold it right there. Keep it right there. Right there. Keep it coming down. Keep it coming down. Keep it coming down. All right, now, idle. Just hold what you got. Flared a little high. That's all right. All right, let's go around.
Okay, coming.
Touch down right at 13 degrees. About 2,000 feet.
I'm passing my mans just before I...
Hey, Calvert, you all ready to go, is that right? Alright, let me know when you're ready.
Just slightly above. Okay, looking for the runway coming up on the mans, 222.
Hey, it's runway lights on and everything for you, man. Welcome, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
Coming out of 222, got our mans, and then we transition.
Okay.
A little bit fast, though.
This is 01 Mike, you can turn left on course direction.
Yeah, I didn't have it.
Good.
Is there a 41 right, tank into position and hold.
Speed brakes are in.
Okay.
Climbing up to 50.
Okay, now the runway's wet, so good air brake. Okay?
Yes. A rainstorm, you can see it's hard to see out the front of the jet, so you have to really concentrate on the white lines on the runway when you're trying to taxi when it's pouring down rain. Basically, what you have here is your basic HUD, what you just saw. Over here, we have the airspeed indicator. When it says 4.5, that means you're going 450 knots, which is, you know, about 500 miles an hour. You got a heading scale down here. So you just add a 0 to everything. Like over here, it says 200, which is 20,000 feet. So if you see 001, you're about 100 feet. Then you got your pitch scale here telling you, you know, you're 5 degrees nose high or 5 degrees nose low. Here's your flight path marker. This little thing that looks like a little airplane is telling you where exactly you're going. So when you're coming in to land, you just put the flight path marker right on the end of the runway, and that's where you're going to go and land. This little thing is a little INS steering cue. You line that up in center of the flight path marker, and it'll take you where your inertial navigation system is headed to. And when you're coming in to land, like for an ILS, instrument landing system, which is what you use when you come in to land in the weather, you get the little crosshairs up there in the center of the HUD, and you use those to fly off of. Or you can use your instruments between your legs, and that's what, you know, mainly most people use because they're the most reliable. So that's basically, in a minute, you're going to see all kinds of things with the HUD, and I'll try to fill you in with that as we go. What you're looking at here is what the gun symbology looks like. This is an airplane right here in this little box. So whenever you see the little box in the films I'm about to show you, there's an airplane in that box, and that's what the radar is locked onto. You got an air-to-air radar, which you can go into an air combat mode, which locks on to the target that you want it to. And then when you go into dogfight mode, you get the gun cross, which is right here, and then you get these aiming reticles. You've got an LCOS, which predicts where the bullets are going to go, and then you got a snap shoot pepper, which is this little line here, and you'll see it, it'll look like spaghetti running across the scope, but it's a line telling you historically where the bullets have been. So basically look for that, and when we lock onto a guy, you'll see him in the box, the little TD box it's called right here, and then there'll be a little diamond inside that box, and basically that's the missile diamond. That's where the missile is looking, because the missile is slaved onto the radar, meaning that it's looking the same place. So when you uncage the missile, you get this tone. You're going to hear all these funny sounds on your TV set. But basically, when you uncage this little diamond, it'll be a little diamond at first, and when you uncage it and you're getting a good tone, which is this real loud tone in your ear, that means the missile sees the heat source and he's ready to go kill that guy. So you pickle the missile, and you'll see a little, up in the upper left hand corner of the TV screen, you'll see a little witness mark, meaning that meant that I shot the missile, or I'm shooting the gun using the trigger. So that's basically what you're going to use to see in the HUD. Now let me show you basically what we do when we go out and set up these little dogfight little drills that we do, and I'll have to draw that out for you, so stand by. Okay, basically we go out to these areas over the Gulf of Mexico, and we fly over Sarasota, Florida, and then we go out over the water, and you'll set these what we call perch setups, and basically the red means it's a bad guy, so that's my IP. He's always a bad guy anyway. And basically I set up here off of about, depending on what type set we're going to do, but let's just say about a mile out I set up, so about 6,000 feet, which is 1 nautical mile. And you call fight zone, and when you hear fight zone, this guy is trying, he didn't want to get shot, because I can come over here, I can just pull over here and shoot him with a missile, because I'm in range to shoot a missile, so I can go shoot him with a missile. But he didn't want me to do that, so you're going to see this guy break, and he's going to break into me to try to defeat the missile. And you'll see flares coming out. He can put out flares, real flares, and they come out, and you'll see the missile try to track on those sometimes on some of my films. So this guy's trying to break, and basically all that I'm trying to do, and it's all pure geometric stuff, you know. And this right here is a circle that he's actually flying. You can see, I mean, I'm not good at drawing circles, but basically he's drawing a circle. And my job is to get inside his circle, because once you're inside his circle, you can shoot him. So if you're back here, you're outside his turn circle. So basically you want to try to get inside his turn circle. And it's all, you got to imagine this stuff. It's all geometric and 3D in your mind. So you have to pull over here, try to get on his turn circle, and then fly around and shoot him. Well, if he you know, pulls real hard, if your turn circle's real big, you're outside here and you can't shoot him. So you're basically stuck in lag. There's 3 pursuit curves. You can either go lag, which is behind him back here, or you can go pure, which is just pointing at him, or you can go lead, which is what you use to pull lead on the guy to go and shoot a gun. This is all real cosmic, I know, to you, but basically what I'm trying to show you here is that it's all geometric. So you got this turn circle here, you got this big circle you got to enter to shoot the guy, and he's flying here. Or he comes around here and he extends down here. Well, he just moved his turn circle, the center of it. Or depending on your airspeed and how many G's you're pulling, it depends on how big this circle is that he's flying. So he moves the circle down here. So you have to enter a circle here, try to fly around. If you can't, try to extend here. It's called getting energy. When you get energy, you're getting airspeed. So you have to extend down to here where the guy was. He was here when he started his turn. Try to pull around and shoot him here again. It's real cosmic, and it's all a matter of what you see, line of sight on the canopy movement, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to do is try to dogfight somebody. So basically it comes down to just flying big turn circles in the sky and chasing them around. Now if he had a contrail or a white smoke like the Thunderbird's running out of the side of his jet, you could easily find that circle in the sky. Okay, so we do that for about 6 rides until we learn how to shoot him that way. Then we end up, and he's the bad guy behind us, and we're the guy up here, and right here. So basically, he's trying to shoot me. Well, you know, I got to break into him, and so I can defeat that and jump out some flares here. Well, he's got to come down and do the same thing that I did, and he's got to try to enter the turn circle right here where I was, try to fly around and shoot me. Well, when he's coming up to shoot me, when he's coming in to shoot me with a gun, I'm going to try to jink, and jink means to just rotate out of plane. It's all, you know, planes and planes of motion and things like that. So I get out of plane and pull real hard and try to defeat his gunshot on me. So you do that for, you know, 4 or 5 rides. And then we move on to what we call high aspect. And basically, here I am coming down this way, and here he is coming down this way. And basically, you come on a head-on pass, you know, you pass pretty close to each other, and basically you try to lead turn him right here to try to get around and shoot him. And he's going this way, and basically he turns this way. So now you got this fight coming back again, and you got different energy states here, because you might pull 8 or 9 G's right here, 8 or 9 G's, and you're trying to come around here and shoot him in the face with a missile. Or he might be over, and he might have turned like this and be a big turn over here, and you can shoot him across here. It's all geometric. It's really hard to explain, but you can see we're just going around in circles in the sky, and whoever's got the most amount of energy, meaning airspeed, and can maneuver their jet better. And all this stuff happens real quick. I mean, in a matter of seconds. So you don't have time enough to sit here and think about chalkboard type stuff. But you're out there, you're sweating, you're pulling G's, and you're having to talk on the radio. And you're trying not to, you know, trying to be safe also, which is one of the prime things of what we're doing out here, is trying to be safe and learn how to do it that way. But once we finish our high aspect stuff, then we start getting into 2 airplanes coming in to shoot this one guy. And it's really a lot of radio discipline and stuff you have to learn there. And I'll show you some of those tapes later. But you know, once you hit the bottom, basically you divide the area up. There's like a floor of like a 10,000 foot floor here, a safety buffer with the ground. So once you come down and you hit this floor, you knock it off and you climb back up to about 18,000 feet and start the fight over. And if there's any, you know, thing that's not safe, then you knock it off and you climb back up and you sort it out, and you talk to each other on the radio about what kind of problems you have, or he can also instruct over the radio to you. Everything is done pretty much, you know, it's an infinite number of ways of doing it, but you're working up and down, you're upside down, you're doing big loops in the sky, you're coming around this way. It's all 3-dimensional. You can be going this way, this way, this way, fighting up and down. So, you know, you never know, especially with the ocean and the blue sky, you know, what's up or down sometimes. So sometimes you have to knock it off and look at your instruments just to see. But you're fighting around here, you're not really paying attention to what's up and down. You're paying attention to the guy you're trying to kill. So there's always positive G on the jet, so it's not like you're really upside down. But I mean, you'll see the ground and the sky all tumbling all together. So it's all just a big fur ball sometimes, and that's basically what a fur ball means. It's all kinds of airplanes and stuff in the sky. So now, let's not waste any more time. I hope you kind of understand what we're going out there to do. We're going out to try to learn how to fight the guy, shoot him down, then learn how not to get shot. And it's all three-dimensional, and it's all geometric, and it's all very subjective too. And you only know, except in a real war, if it really works when you shoot the guy down and you see him parachuting out of his jet trying to survive. So now we'll get right into our heads-up display VTR tapes. And we'll start off with me being the offender, and then some of the tapes I'll be the defender, and then we'll have some intercept stuff. I'll show you what the radar looks like and items like that. Okay, there's one other thing that I forgot to mention. This again is the HUD, the heads-up display. Up here in the upper left-hand corner is the G's that you're pulling at the time. Right now it's indicating 8.3 G's. So that's 8.3 times the normal amount of gravity on you. So you weigh 8.3 times what you weigh. Sitting on the ground on the earth, you're at 1.0 G. So if you weigh 200 pounds, then 200 times 1.0 is you weigh 200 pounds. But at 8.3 G's, you weigh, you know, 1,600 pounds basically. You know, 8 times 200. So, just a quick refresher here. This is the airspeed over here, which is indicating right now 300 knots calibrated. Okay, so the airspeed's here. This is the TD box, target designator, saying where the other airplane is. And basically that's where he'll be. That diamond is the missile diamond. Over here is your altitude, 16,000 feet right now. Down here is the mode that you're in. I'm in dogfight, and the number right over dogfight right there, it says 9.1. That's the max G's that you pull since you've reset the G meter. Over here is your missile dynamic launch zone, and basically that tells you when you're in range to shoot the missile. So basically we'll go right into a quick little film on starting the engine and the cockpit, and then we'll be right into dogfighting.
You know, looking at the F-16